So I wanted to say a big thank you for being a part of the cheerleader, playing the role of Adam. You did an amazing job, and you came to me as well and you said, "I have this idea for a prank. I'm wondering if you want to be a part of it, or who wants to be a part of it." So yeah, talk me through that, and because it was really cool to see it.
Yeah, oh mate, it was. Thanks so much for taking part in that for sure. It was pretty last minute as well. We dropped it on you. I think it was like 2 weeks before filming it that we reached out to you personally. But and you also got some of the other actors involved in that. But yeah, no, it was really fun. It was really nice to sort of explore a certain side of that. We're probably going to do that again this year if we do another show at Leicester Comedy Festival.
Yeah, so like, is that something that always happens between like co-workers? Is it like you have pranks on each other?
Yeah, I mean, our hospital's sort of known for that. Maybe not at that level. I think we're the first people to do the whole sort of like hidden camera style found footage thing. But yeah, they responded really well to it actually. And there was a lot of people in the audience from the hospital who then wanted to get involved. The problem is, the more people in the know, the less people we can prank. So now we're gonna have to, test our web out even more.
Get the newbies in on it.
Yeah, everyone's in on it.
Yeah, so the show was amazing. I've seen clips on social media, and I'll let you know that as well. I was really surprised to see how much material you kind of don't see, and all the audience as well was laughing along. I wanted to ask, like, was there an added pressure to know someone in the crowd?
Was there an added pressure to what? Sorry, you broke up a little bit then.
Was there an added pressure knowing that you knew someone in the crowd?
Oh, it wasn't just you. It was also it was actually like a doctor from F2, which is like above me in there. So that was even more pressure, if anything.
Yeah.
So my boss basically in the audience. No, not really. I think a lot of the time I'm performing to like people will come out if they know like my family or me, then they'll come out and watch. So yeah, it's not too bad. If anything, it was nice to have like a friendly face in the audience. I hope I didn't pressure you too much by staring you down sometimes.
To be fair, I was glad that there wasn't too much audience sort of participation, but there was definitely a bit of banter between that sort of doctor and you were raising money for Bristol Children's Hospital. Like, what's the relevance of that to you, and how much like money did you raise?
So that night, I think we raised just over 300 quid, which is good for just a short show. But overall, I mean, we've been doing this show for about 3 years now. It hasn't always been called Bed 32, but it's always been going towards Bristol Children's Hospital, the Grand Appeal, Wallace and Gromit charity. And overall, I think we've raised almost about 9 grand now for that. So it's been, yeah, but definitely very profitable. People are always donating quite a lot in the bucket on the way out. And yeah, for me, that's very relevant. I grew up in Bristol Children's Hospital in what is now the Carousel ward, which is like sort of the long stay children's ward for that. And they helped me a lot. They got me sorted when I was in there with like they give like life-saving equipment now and everything. Like, it's all really like high-tech stuff. But I remember also just some of the things that a lot of charities overlook, like giving me a laptop to play. I was a big gamer back when I was young. Like giving me a laptop so I could still like game with my friends and have like that communication with like the outside world. It was very important. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's you speak about being in hospital since until you were 15, and my first thought was kind of like those are the important ages of like school and making friends. And what was that like? Was that just all taking place in a hospital bed, pretty much?
Yeah, it was tricky, like, yeah, those are the critical stages of development. When I went in, I was 3 years old, and I left when I was 15. So I didn't have to. I didn't go to primary school at all, and I think I did just year 11 of secondary school, which is, yeah, it's pretty unheard of, really, especially because nowadays there's a lot more pressure to if a child is in like a long stay sort of situation like that. There's a lot more pressure to get them back into school. But back then they were just sending tutors to the hospital, so I still got like an education, but without all that social, atmosphere of primary school and secondary school. So yeah, I think in a way that does sort of like just hold you back a bit. I got quite lucky in that my friends were very supportive, the ones that I made, and they were always sort of keeping in touch. I got a lot of friends still from the hospital wards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you keep in touch? And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the show, not to spoil anything, but yeah, they all come on the screen to do like a little musical number at the end. I mean, let's be honest, it's mostly them that supply the talent of that musical number. I'm just sort of like miming along to them, but yeah, they're fantastic. I think they recorded that in one sitting as well, which is phenomenal. But yeah, it's a nice tribute to Bed 9 and yeah, an old friend. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Bed 9, because it was cool to see like some of the images that you put in the stand-up show, and like, yeah, like, what are your memories about him?
Loads of memories about him. When I went in, I don't think he was there for the first year. But, so he was from Lille, I think, in France, and his family had moved him there because that was the closest point you could have that operation that he needed. It was a similar thing to me. I had one leg a lot shorter than the other. So whereas I was sort of missing my foot as well as that, he just had a very short femur, I think. So he had operations from when he was about, I think, 10 going forward. His was related to cancer. He had a lot of different types of sort of like bone cancers and some leukemia as well. So he was in hospital a lot longer than any of us. But when we went in, we were all quite little, and he sort of like took us in under his wing because he was a teenager at that point. And yeah, he was a really inspirational guy, very very much of a sort of leader, to the point where not even the kids would go, like, well, not just the kids would go to him for advice, but like even like some of the staff would go. Like, I just remember like nurses going to him and asking him like for advice and stuff. He was seen as like this very wise 14-year-old kid.
The king of the hospital kind of thing.
Yeah, the king of the hospital. Yeah, that's what they used to call him. Yeah, he used to wear a little crown. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were born without any hip or knee joints, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So I was born. So without getting too medical, I don't have an acetabulum. I don't have like a ball joint in my hip. So my femur is just fused to my pelvis. And I don't have a patella or anything. It's just two fused bones where the knee is. Yeah.
Yeah, like you were told that your leg would have to be amputated, but your mum was able to find a surgeon in Baltimore in the United States. Yeah, like, what was that like to go over there? And how much like effort did your mum put into like find the surgeon?
Well, yeah, so I owe a lot to my mum. She's definitely one of my heroes. She sold her house at the time and then lived on a council estate up in Blackpool to fund the very first operations when I was a little infant. To move us over there, like you said, to Baltimore to find Dr. Draw Paley, who was the first surgeon. He was the only person in the entire world doing that operation back then, so we had to. He was like our only option, really. And then we followed him as well to Florida after that. To stay in the Ronald McDonald House for more operations. Then, luckily, Bristol Children's Hospital started doing the operation. A great surgeon called Fergal Monsell started doing that. And yeah, and that's when I moved into Bristol then. I think it was a lot easier living in Bristol than in Baltimore. Quite a culture shock suddenly living in America after growing up.
Were you there for quite a while?
I was in Baltimore just for 2.5 years, I think, and then Florida just under 2 years.
Okay, and the surgery that was done was like bone crushing. Is that correct? Like leg strengthening? Like I've just heard all sorts on I think it's The Guardian, my source for that. But yeah, it was. What was that like?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So the surgery that they do is they put the liver off frame on. So it's like loads of pins going into you might have seen it. Loads of pins going into the bone. And what they do is they make a small break in the bone, and then they'll stretch the two bones apart. So the two ends of the break apart. The new bone will grow in between there, and every time, just as it's about to fuse, they'll stretch it even more. So then you make up more length from that. Yeah, it's quite a simple procedure really, but back in those days there was only like there wasn't many people doing that. It's quite experimental back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, when did Bristol come in? But you kind of answered that. Like you went back to Bristol, and yeah, like you went on these, this morning with Holly and Phil. What was that like as a kid, kind of just to be on TV and like have people interview you at that young age?
I was not very media trained as a kid. I remember we actually went on this morning once before that as well, when I was even younger than that. And there was those wax fruits, like a decoration, and they had to cut, even though it was live TV, they had to cut away because I started to eat the wax fruit. I was just a kid, like I didn't know it was all fake and everything, and they would ask me questions, and I'd just be like, I don't know, I didn't really know how to answer them straight away or anything. I would just be sort of sitting there clueless. Yeah, I was not ready to be on television as a kid.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of awkward because like they kind of ask your mum questions, like she kind of answers for you in a way, and it's like, yeah. But it was really funny to see how you put that into the show and kind of, yeah, how you kind of made fun of that. Yeah, I saw that Graham Norton, Atomic Kitten, and Manchester United Football Club all helped raise money. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I mean, without my mum here, it's quite difficult to remember what happened there. I was very young back when that was going on, but I think it was mostly through Graham Norton that we managed to get in touch with Man United and Atomic Kitten. Some other big names as well. What's he called now? The boxer Ricky Hatton as well did a lot of work for us. Yeah. Heavyweight champion. Yeah, lots of celebrities banded together to sort of help. It was called Operation Michael, was the charity back in the day that used to run that. Theo Pathetis as well from Dragon's Den. He did a lot of added a lot to the proceeds personally from his personal funds. I owe all these people massive amounts. Really, without them, I wouldn't have been able to go the second time to Florida, because my mum then, of course, wouldn't have a house to sell at that point. So yeah, I wouldn't really be able to walk at all without these people. So yeah. Massive. I owe them massively big time. Yeah.
Yeah, like Manchester United. What's the relevance there? And like, are you a fan of that club? Like, do you follow Man U?
I'm not really. I'm not really into two-legged people sports, to be honest with you. But yeah, I suppose they are my favourite team, owing to that fact that they got me over to America. No, I think my older sister at the time was a big fan of them, but I think she just wanted to meet them. But yeah, they just at the time wanted to support like a local charity, and we were living in Blackpool, so it's nearby. So yeah, I'm glad they chose me, because they did a big raffle at the time, selling off loads of merchandise, and they raised like quite a few grand to help me over to America.
Yeah, because it's a massive club, and Rupy, who plays one of the judges in the Cheerleader, is a big Man U fan. So I kind of asked that question, like if you're one of them, but you don't follow any sports or anything.
I like the Paralympics. Got any Paralympic questions for me? I'll be up there. Yeah, definitely. I've gone to the Paralympics a few times. But nah, sorry, your people's sports don't interest me. I don't.
So you have just frozen on the screen, but you've come back now. That's good. Yep, you're back now.
Yeah, so, you're frozen for me.
Am I okay? I'll have to edit that part. So, Sir Paul McCartney wrote you a poem. That would have been massive, wouldn't it, as a kid? But maybe kind of better, like as you get older and kind of realise how big that is.
Yeah. That was surreal almost. My family still talk about that all the time. Yeah, I mean, he's a great human being. He's done a lot of charity work, especially in the last few decades. Helped a few people with my condition. yeah, he's well known actually for helping kids that have grown up in hospital, and yeah, sort of getting to where they need to be. He's just a really lovely man.
Do you think that he contributed to your creativity because you do like songs in your performance? I've seen the Bed 32 song on the YouTube channel that you did. It's called Bed 32, a duet over 20 years. Do you think like Paul McCartney kind of inspired you a bit?
I don't know whether you can compare me to Paul McCartney, but I mean, if anything, yeah, the Beatles was always like one of my biggest inspirations growing up, for sure. Like musically, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think any musician alive can say they're not in some way inspired or standing on the shoulders of Paul McCartney as a songwriter.
Yeah,
yeah, it was definitely a big impact there for sure.
yeah. So in the song, I'm going to quote the song. It says, "I lay in between bed 31 and 33. I lay and dream about my life once I'm free." What was it like for you to be free from this hospital bed? And like, what were your first memories like coming out there for the first time?
Yeah, that is a huge part that I think is often overlooked when kids leave that environment. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I'm so supportive of the charity, the Wallace and Gromit charity, because the Grand Appeal really do invest in children after they leave the hospital, because it was a massive impact to suddenly be a part of like this huge world that obviously I knew about. Like I had access to a television and the internet and everything, but it's just a massive like shock to suddenly be like, I'd never been in a car. You know, I'd never like crossed the road. It was just like huge things that they seem so little, like everyday experiences, but yeah, massive culture shock to suddenly be sort of having to deal with all these everyday things I've heard so much about. Yeah, I think a lot of kids do struggle with it for sure. I remember we used to get letters from some of the kids who had left, and they would write back to the wards, and some of them, and they were obviously like a lot of them were very happy to finally be like out of treatment and to be better. But a lot of them were also saying how, in a way, they sort of missed the ward, like they missed the comfort and security of, you know, what they grew up with, feeling familiar with and safe with, and now suddenly, you know, the world can be a bit scary with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I definitely found that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something that fascinated me of kind of like, yeah, it's like things that you think of, and then kind of you go out there and it's kind of, you're experiencing it now, and it's kind of you can get a lot of freedom, but maybe like overwhelming type of freedom, where like, how did you keep that same structure in your life of like, did you go straight to becoming, because like, is it student doctor that you're doing, or yeah, you go back into the hospital basically, and when did that come in from after you left? Like, how soon was it like kind of going back and kind of feeling like you could help other people because of the experience that you had?
Yeah. So from when I was little, I always wanted to be a doctor. I think when I left, and like I said, I went to year 11 first, so I did a year of school, and then I went to college. And I think in college, I sort of went through different aspirations, not knowing what to do. But most, and I did eventually end up, yeah, like you said, going back to hospital and doing work experience there as a carer, and then making my way up to med school, and yeah, now I'm a junior doctor. But I think most people that I was in hospital with now are all either midwives, nurses, one or two doctors as well. I think that never really leads you. So maybe you're right in that sense of it being like a familiar thing. I want to work in pediatrics, which is, you know, like what obviously I grew up knowing. Sort of give back in that way. I think it's really nice to have that experience and be able to relate to these kids, because a lot of the time they're going through stuff that I don't think a normal doctor would be able to sort of relate to, and they don't even know how to sort of, you know, when you get in a deep conversation with a child who's like been raised in a hospital bed, like there's not really much you can sort of say, like how do you cheer that person up, you know? But having that experience and just sort of in a way, I kind of feel like Nine's still watching down on me, and I can sort of like impart his words, to these kids. Yeah, so I feel like it's a big thing for me. It matters a lot for me.
Yeah, like how rewarding is it to kind of see, to be there for those kids like Bed9 was there for you? Is there anything that is comparable to that feeling of like being there for someone? And is that why you do it?
Yeah, that is, yeah. Fundamentally, that is hugely the main reason why I'm a doctor, just to sort of give back in that way. Like without, not just Nine, he obviously was a huge part of it, Benjamin Nightingale, but also the doctors there that basically like raised me along with my mum and the nurses. Just the amazing support network that I had that some kids don't have, unfortunately. But just be able to sort of like pass that on. Yeah, that is definitely fundamentally why I am a doctor today. Yeah.
Yeah. So where does stand-up comedy come in? Is that something that you were in the hospital bed thinking about, or is that what came after you were leaving?
I don't think I ever imagined myself as a stand-up. I was always very shy as a kid. I think I used to like making people laugh, and I used to like think about what the best way I could make people laugh is. I used to obsess over that a bit, and I always used to be a fan of stand-up. Like always used to be watching like Lee Evans as a kid. They used to I used to have a lot of like full body like MRI scans. You know, when you've got to like stay still in the machine, and they'd always say, "Oh, what music, what like track do you want? Like what album do you want to play?" And I would always, quite foolishly, I think, I'd always choose Lee Evans stand up. So then, like trying to stay still in an MRI machine whilst Lee Evans is doing his impressions in your ear. I think, I don't think I got one readable MRI from that time. Just a blur. But I think I started doing stand up because I came out of hospital and I wasn't adjusting well to the real world. I was very shy. I think I was like almost mute for like a year or so. But I wanted to do medicine, and of course you don't want to be a shy doctor. So you need a doctor to be confident. So I just thought, I'll just throw myself in the deep end, sort of exposure therapy, really. Just go up on stage, do a bit of public speaking, and it worked out really well. Here we are today, and it's really helped.
It's going well. It's definitely going well. The first time you do it, just how do you overcome the nerves? Like, because I kind of had this idea of like you going being what you've been through. You kind of like, you can kind of have this confidence maybe of like, you don't know what I'm going through, so why am I getting nervous kind of thing, or is it just like you say you were shy? What was kind of running through your head the first time you got on stage?
Okay, I've got sort of two answers for this. First answer is I think anyone going up on stage needs to remember that those nerves go away as soon as you get the first laugh. So as soon as you get that first connection, that's what stand-up is, like a connection with the audience. As soon as you get that connection, you see an eye to eye, like that goes away and the adrenaline takes over, then it's absolutely fine. There's no nerves after the first laugh, there never is. But the very first time I went up, obviously I didn't know this, didn't have this experience. I was, very, very terrified of going up and talking on stage. Bed9 used to write on our arms, and I'm still not sure what this means to this day. They used to write the words, "get better" on our arms. And so before I went up, I wrote "get better" on my arm. And I'd never done it before, like since I left hospital, but it just really filled me with like inspiration and exactly what you said. Like, I've been through all this stuff. Surgeries, growing up kind of like quite isolated, having all this like tricky childhood. This is nothing. I'm just getting up on stage and talking. Like, there's no need to be nervous. I'm going to do it. And so I went up. I think, in fact, like the first BBC televised thing, I think I still also wrote the "get better" on my arm. You can see it on there. Probably confused the crowd, but I was nervous. So, but that really helped me. The memory of 9. Yeah.
I think that'll help other people as well, kind of going through those nerves, and if you can kind of relate it back to your kind of childhood and like the people that inspire you as well. Obviously, Benjamin Nightingale for you. I think that'll help other people as well. And what was like the best performance you did, and why was it why does it what makes a performance great, basically?
Best performance. I used to do a lot of gong shows when I was starting off. I did really enjoy doing that. I think I did one up once in Darlington, like way up north, and there was quite a lot of disabled people in the crowd. And I think I started off. I was the only disabled act. Started off just doing some really heavy disabled stuff, just because I saw that, and yeah, got a really good reaction from that crowd. I still remember it now. There's a video of it out there somewhere, and it's me crawling along the floor. I don't know why I was doing this, but it's me crawling along the floor, and they just didn't stop laughing for like a whole minute. It was crazy, and I remember thinking, being on the floor, being like, "This is a great reaction, but like, why are they laughing so much?" but then it hit me as soon as I saw the crowd that they were all disabled. Like a lot of them were disabled in the crowd that night, and they were sort of relating to what I was saying.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when you have that reaction, do you kind of note that down and say, I need to include this in the next show? And on the flip side of that, is there any kind of material that didn't work and then you just got rid of it?
Oh, yeah. As a stand-up, it's always like trial and error, yeah. The stuff I've said that I get looks like, what on earth are you talking about? I mean, it's always about that, isn't it? Stand-up comedy is about, especially the writing phase, is trying to be like, oh, you know, I've had this experience. Is this something that is not talked about that everyone else is having, but no one's just mentioned it yet? It's just gone unnoticed in our culture, in our like dialect. Is this something that's not been explored very often? And sometimes it's a yes, and you've hit gold. And sometimes it's no. You've had that experience, and you say it on stage, you look like a mental case, but that happens. That's part of it. That's what you sacrifice for good material. Sometimes you look like a loony on stage.
Yeah, because I guess like I know like if you're an actor, you kind of can practice, and it's not in front of an audience. Pretty much like, yeah, it's just a daunting thing to think about, and a lot of people kind of will look at you and kind of admire that bravery to get on stage, because it's definitely something I look at stand-up comedians and think, how do they do what they do, kind of thing. And yeah, like, what's the dream goal for you in stand-up? Like, what are the ambitions that you have?
I don't know whether I'm that ambitious in stand-up, to be honest. I'm enjoying it where I am now. I'm doing like paid opener spots, paid middle spots at the moment, and I quite enjoy that. I like the atmosphere, and I like watching some of the headliners that I grew up watching. Like I've opened for like Russell Howard. I've opened recently for I'm trying to think of his name now. Maybe edit this bit out, because I feel like I'm going to offend him if I had to think of his name. Stevie Royal used to do a lot of gigs around Blackpool when I was a kid. Grew up watching him, so that was amazing to gig with him again. Fantastic. Like, my childhood dream would be to gig with Stevie Royal. Gary Delaney opening for him was incredible.
Is he the one-liner one?
Yeah, Delaney. Yeah. He's married to Sarah Millican. Yeah, he's fantastic. You know, when I went on stage opening for him, I did about 20 minutes before his like hour show. We were in this big like sold out arena, and then I hopped back off stage afterwards, and he had a piece of paper waiting for me, and he'd written about like 20 jokes just in the time that I'd been on stage, and they were all really good. And I was just thinking, like, how has he done that? I was like, can I have this? And he's like, yeah, go for it. I'm not going to use a one-legged joke, am I? But it was great. Yeah. He's a genius. Yeah. It's incredible.
That's amazing. So, like, you're just enjoying it, kind of like seeing what opportunities come, and kind of like, yeah, just doing it for fun, basically.
Yeah. This is a hobby that's got out of control, really. If anything, I don't see myself on like Taskmaster or anything. Not that I wouldn't pass up that opportunity, obviously, but I am happy being the middle spot, the opener spot. I think that's where I want to stay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you write your jokes, and how do you come up with it? Because it must take a lot of time to kind of, because you have like payoffs and kind of, yeah, it relates to you as a person as well. I was just really impressed by like the talent that it took to write those jokes. Like, how long does it take? Is it like Gary, where it just comes to you, or yeah, a bit?
No.
a
Well,
bit of
my
a
process is
long
more.
process?
No. I think Gary's process is probably 40 years of experience knowing exactly what's funny and what's not. No, I've only been going for 5 years, so it's still a lot of trial and error, writing, rewriting. I think a lot of the biggest thing I've learned is a lot of newer comics will try and write too much quantity wise instead of quality wise. I think the focus now, I think I've suddenly realised over the last couple of years, is that it's you write a joke and then you edit that joke and you keep editing that joke. You don't just write loads and loads of jokes. You just keep editing that joke, like fine tune it, try it out, see which parts work, which parts don't work. Even when it works, go back to writing on it again. How can you make it work even more? Really optimize it. Yeah, that is the process for me at the moment.
One of my favourite jokes is like the homeless doctor one, because it has like an image that I can see, and the crowd are always laughing at that particular one. Is that something where like you optimize that one, or did you add different things to that one, or is that like
The homeless doctor one, yeah. So we've changed the order of that a lot because it's 3 punchlines, like rule of 3. We tried that with lots of different variations. The biggest thing I learned from that was a Manchester-based comic called Andy Askins. Sort of helped me with that one. He said that using his method, the Askins method of just you come up with 50 keywords based around 2 topics. So I just came up with 50 keywords based around like homelessness and medicine and like being a doctor, and then you just see which ones intertwine with that. But it does take a while, and it's a lot of trial and error, trying it on different crowds to see what works with that. But it's based on true story. I was homeless in first year of medical school. It did lead to some sort of embarrassing situations sometimes, because obviously you don't expect your doctor to not have it to be sleeping rough. It's a bit awkward, but turning those sort of like dark moments into comedy, I think, is what works, especially on the UK scene. We love that stuff.
Yeah, dark comedy.
Yeah.
How did the BBC thing come about? Because it was like impressive to see that. Obviously, you'd work for like BBC, ITV, and stuff. How do they approach you? It's like social media, or?
I got very lucky. I'm not really sure how you would. I think the way to go about it now is just to be known on the clubs and the club scene, and then people from like Live at the Apollo will contact the promoters who run that, and they go through that, as well as agencies as well. But for me, I just got very, very lucky in that there was a talent scout in the gig of my very first gig, which was a gong show. Was just in the audience. Mark Olver, his name is, and he just saw me and said, "Yeah, let's get you on BBC New Comedy Awards." I think I probably did it a little bit before I was ready for it, to be honest with you. I wish I'd practiced a bit more than that. Maybe not my best performance, but it definitely skyrocketed my career. Like after that, like, working in it was like my 16th gig was on TV then, so it was massive.
Yeah. So he kind of, it might not have been your best performance, but he saw something there that you can like polish it and make it better. Because my first introduction to you was a really well thought out show, really well performed, in the sense of you were like playing the piano and you were doing more than just up there telling jokes. Where does that musical bit come in? Because we spoke a bit about music before, but it's different, isn't it? It's something different where it's not just standing up there telling jokes. It's like saying them in a different way.
Yeah. I was always a big fan of Bill Bailey, Flight of the Conchords, Bo Burnham. All my biggest inspirations of comedy. Trying to like have like a little profound message as well, and then also using music to tell a story. I really like that. I think it appeals to sort of like the ADHD side of me, who will get a bit bored watching someone just tell jokes for an hour. I think I like a little bit of a musical interlude, I suppose. But yeah, I find it works really well. I think the audience, especially in the longer shows, wakes them up a bit. Yeah. It's something different, helps you stand out as well on the circuit.
Do you have an order where you put it? Do you always finish with that, or have you tried it at the start, or like? What's the best order to go in with different certain types of comedy?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Matt. We get asked that quite a lot, actually. Um, I think with music, I think it's best to use it to break up the stand-up, personally. But then again, I don't know whether there's a right answer to it because some comics who do music and stand-up mix say that it's best to like break the tension straight away with music. So I guess it's whatever works for that individual comic and what style of stand-up you do versus what style of music you do, really.
So we spoke about music and comedy. Is there anything else that you intend on pursuing, or just something that interests you? Trying to segue into the cheerleader as well a bit.
Yeah. I did really enjoy acting in the cheerleader. I had a brilliant time. Awesome time, sort of backstage as well with you guys, just having a bit of banter. It was really good. Met some lifelong friends as well from that. Definitely really good chemistry like throughout the cast, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. That was one of my first tastes of like proper acting. Before that, I'd only been in just sort of like short commercials or something like that. But that was my first like short film I've been in. And since then I've been in a few short films because I just got the taste for it. Yeah, it gave me the taste for
yeah. That was one of my questions is like, is there any future like projects? Because I think like it was your first experience with acting, was the cheerleader, I think. So, and I was really impressed by it. On the Zoom call read through that we did, I gotta be honest, like, I wasn't sure. But then in person, like you were saving it for in person, and there was quite a few people like that where on Zoom it's not the same as it is being in person. Now you're in character, now you're on set, the cameras are rolling, and like you really brought it and really perfect for the role. Similar to like Ray and people like that, where like they would just pleasantly surprise me, really. So like my question, I have like a question of where does the acting skills come from, because it's kind of like you're kind of acting with people that are just pursuing that on its own and really passionate about being an actor, but you're kind of there doing a great job with them.
I was in awe of like Ray's and everyone's acting in that room, to be honest. And that was my first time really. I just sort of picked it up. I know this may sound a bit half-dashed, but like on the day, really, I was just watching what they were doing, trying to copy them. Really, they're probably my only inspirations for acting, which is crazy because I mean, I used to use. I think you found me on Backstage. I used to just use that for stand-up gigs and stuff. And you contacted me and asked me to be in the short film, and I'm really glad I did. And it was incredible. But yeah, I don't think I ever saw myself as an actor before then. I just sort of gave it my all, I suppose. Just sort of, I think your script really spoke to me as well. That's one of the reasons I decided to do it. And I think as long as you can connect with your character, and I really did connect to Adam and his plight and his struggles with disability and even gambling as well. I think he was such a relatable character that sort of hid behind humour as well. I could see myself in him, and I think as long as you connect with the character, it sort of comes second nature.
I really liked your chemistry with Ron as well, and because Jill and Ron are from theatre, and like I think Ray and Cushy are kind of just. I think Cushy did a bit of theatre as well, but those two in particular, you can kind of tell they're from theatre in their performances. Do you have any memories with those two, and like especially with Ron, like what were the memories? And I just think I like the chemistry.
I think the chemistry with Ron was very much not acting at all. I think that came second nature. Yeah, I think when he drove me from one scene to the other once, and he left his car door open the entire time, and then I was trying to convince him that his car door was open and he wouldn't have it. I was like, "No, listen, Ron, your door's open and the alarm's going off," and he's. Took a wrong turn in once into almost ran some people down. It was wild. It was crazy. He is a character off stage just as much as he is on the stage. I think he's fantastic. Definitely someone that I would be more than happy to work with again, if not just for the stories, for the stand-up material.
Yeah, do you put those stories into your stand-up, like, or do you just like take notes when it's happening? Like, this could be a good joke, or
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a story I tell at parties for sure. Ron driving around with his door open. Yeah,
I'm glad that I
it's good.
walked instead now. Hearing that,
Yeah.
yeah, like I just wanted to say it was a big surprise to see how good you were acting, because I think that I was kind of at the point where, you know, like you have other things going for you, and like if it could be an opportunity to get into something else, like I was offering that, but I was just really impressed by like how good it was. It really worked. So yeah, like what acting do you want to do in the future? What's your dream role? And as you were saying, like inspirations for comedy, is there any certain actors or films that kind of inspire you a bit?
I'm a big film buff. I'm a massive film buff. I really love like the work of like Christopher Nolan, Wes Anderson, definitely one of my favorite directors at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm always watching movies. It's like my go-to thing. In terms of actors, Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is one of my all-time favorites. Robin Williams, obviously. Yeah, just probably just the classics, the generic classics that I guess and everyone says. But
Yeah,
but
because
yeah,
we do a podcast with three of us, and Jack asked like the question of who would play you in a movie. I don't know if you have an answer, or I thought I'd just ask you anyway.
I really like, and I get compared to him a lot. I personally don't see the resemblance here, but I get compared to Charlie Cox quite a lot. You know, the
Oh
Daredevil guy. Yeah, people
yeah.
tell me I don't like him. I don't see it personally, but but he's an incredible actor. He could play a good Bed 32. Yeah, definitely.
I can see that. I can see that. Is there like do they have to be careful in the way they portray like the leg or?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would probably prefer a one-legged actor, I suppose. I suppose if they could give part of their experience towards it. So yeah, maybe we should edit that out. No, I don't know. No, if Charlie Cox is willing
Trying
to
to be
play
like
me, then yeah.
political correctness. So so yeah. So is there any, like, to finish, like words of encouragement for people that kind of find themselves in a situation that you can relate to in like the way they've spent their childhood, and like, is there any words that you'd have for them to share on here as well to people that don't kind of have specifically what you went through, but can kind of relate? Maybe it's like an injury or something they've had, and kind of they need to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Is there anything that you would want to share?
In terms of inspiration, I mean, that was more sort of Nine's thing. I'm just a funny guy. I don't really. I'm just there to make people laugh. I don't really the motivational thing. I suppose I could try sort of channel Nine a bit. I think he would probably say that although it's hard and although these hardships look like they're never going to end, you know, this is just the storm, and you know everything will come to pass. It's about learning to dance in the storm. You know, learning to sort of hold your head high and like, you know, get through these hard times, because that's what life's about, and it rewards you for it at the end of the day. That's my best Nine impression anyway. I can't. I would just laugh it off. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you doing what you do already, kind of telling the jokes, is enough inspiration, I think, to people.
Bed 32 has been trying to start fights between the kids missing limbs. This one's really bad. I do apologise. When asked about this, he claimed it was a part of a contest he called partial arts.
I remember because we shot, and then you had to leave a little bit early, didn't you? Because you had a show in London. So is it kind of like that, where the passions that you have, the things that you want to get into, maybe it's acting, you have to kind of like, is it limited a bit in terms of the stand-up, or how do you balance everything out, basically?
Yeah, no, well, I guess that a lot. Yeah, I think I mean, there are a lot of stand-ups that are comics. I remember a family friend of mine, Harry Hill. He used to work full time as a junior doctor, and then he would be having like 3 or 4 gigs a night in the centre of London, and he'd have to go from work to the gigs. Like sometimes he'd just have his scrubs in his backpack and stuff, he would say. And a lot of doctors are doing that. It's quite a lot of doctors are stand-ups. It's quite a well-known hobby in medicine for nurses, doctors, teachers as well, I know. But yeah, I think finding that balance is definitely difficult. But once you get around to it, it's worth it because they complement each other very well. It's nice to have a bit of a grey area and a bit of a laugh after such a hard day on the wards. Because a day in the life of Michael is like, wake up about 6 a.m., head over to Derby Hospital, start, before you start the shift, you're on handover, and then you've got to go around with the consultants and, make sure everyone's okay. You're doing so much paperwork every day. There's mountains of paperwork before you even get to treatment options and, prepping for surgery. And yeah, it goes on and on. I won't bore you with it, but yeah, it's a hell of a job, but best job in the world because you're, making a massive improvement in those people's lives.
Yeah, when I went to do this prank, and it was really good fun, and it was me, Joshua, who plays the police officer in the Cheerleader, and Maisie, who plays the receptionist. It was really... Can you tell me a bit about Maisie? Because me and Joshua were outside the room, I think. Or I was at least outside the room. How did it, because I was second, how did it start, and how was it for you creating your own thing? Because it's you're a part of other films. How was it for you to create your own thing and say, I'm going to film this, I'm going to do this?
It was nerve-wracking without our cinematographer Brandon there, definitely. And I didn't have I had you for the second bit. But especially that first bit where it was just me and the actress Maisie, who's incredible. You were both very good at improv there because neither of you had improved every single line, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, without you guys, I would have been lost there. I think I probably should have prepped you a little bit more beforehand, but it was very last minute that we recruited you. I think it was within the week or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you did incredible.
Cheers, mate. It was really good fun, and just to explain, it was like a kind of an ant and deck kind of someone in your ear kind of thing, and it was pranking the Fiona is her name? Yeah.
Imogen's her name, yeah.
Where did I get Fiona from?
Well, no, that's brilliant because part of it was you getting her name wrong, and
oh, there you go.
It's come back full circle in that. Yeah, I think you got her name wrong several times. We did a few things. We had a stethoscope that we could change the audio that the person was hearing through it. We just had some simple things as well, we had you take ages to put your gloves on, and different things that would trigger doctors for sure, the things that we train doctors not to do. We had you do some mad exams, didn't we? Percussion with one finger. It was crazy. It was wild. A lot of our med students wrote those, so I can't take credit for some of the genius prompts that they made you do. But yeah, it was really good fun.
You just mentioned Brandon because I forgot. A question I was going to ask is I suppose that you went after we filmed, you said, can you film one of my shows or something? Because he has this camera and he has experience in filming theatre productions and kind of on stage. So how did that go? Because I'm curious to see, was there a lot of pressure that there was a camera there? You see these Netflix specials, and in my head I'm kind of thinking on the day that they're filming, does the comedian get those extra bit of nerves because they know it's being filmed? So how was that for you?
So we just thought we'd he offers quite a cheap service, especially when compared to the quality that he gives is absolutely incredible for the price. And yeah, as soon as we heard the prices and I knew about the quality from the Cheerleader, and I was just really impressed with the cinematography in the Cheerleader. We hired him without a second thought, and he filmed our Derby show at Ram Comedy Festival, which was upstairs in the Tudor bar in the old Bell Hotel. We had a packed room, but it was still only 50 people. So to have these really professional cameras in an audience of just 50 was wild, to be honest. I think it gave the audience the perspective that, you know, this was a big deal as well. Like to have these like really like high powered professional cameras set up. We had 2 cameras and we switched between the perspective. But then, yeah, we got some really great footage from that. Some of that footage is on my Instagram, and some of that footage we also sent to like Comedy Central as well. It got aired about 1 a.m, so it was pretty cool. I mean, no one watched it because it was at 1 a.m, but we got on Stand Up Shorts, which is yeah, it's pretty monument step in my my career, and I don't think I would have got that if it wasn't for the quality that Brandon supplied for us.
Yeah, so where can people like find you? Where's the best place to find you? Like, where do we see these shorts and these different bits and pieces?
So we don't show the footage on as public as we want to, just because our promotion kind of limits how much we can show, because then people don't buy tickets for the live shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would have seen it because you've come to the live show, so you would have seen all of the pranks and everything. But if you want to come see us live, we do advertise on my Instagram at Bed32. Facebook, I'm just Michael McKenzie. I think it's like a fan run page there. And then the TikTok as well is Bed32, all words spelled out. And yeah, and all 3 of those we promote most of our gigs that we're doing whenever there's tickets going and everything like that. We're active around all of the UK, and we take the big show, which has all the footage in, and the pranks to every festival. So Leicester Comedy Festival, Brighton Comedy Festival, Derby Ram Festival, and we're hoping eventually to go to Edinburgh.
Wow. Just before you go, what's the best festival to perform at?
I mean, I've heard Edinburgh, but I really love Leicester. I think it's a good mix of that professional sort of circuit where you've got people like Maisie Adams and stuff like headlining, but also just some incredible local acts. I enjoyed going there as just an audience member myself and just seeing like some of the rising stars you see. Like I remember seeing James Acaster like when he was like just in a crowd of like 30 people and he was just starting to come up through the ranks. So Leicester is the best one to go to, especially to see the rising stars of like tomorrow.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time there, and it's a really cool place because it's advertised everywhere as well. And one of my last questions is, what do you think? What would you like to see people, or how can we basically help promote like comedians? Like, if what would your advice be to people? Like, if you want more people come to your show, how can we kind of help promote you, or kind of does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. If you're a fan of like an up and coming stand up and you want to help promote them, I think the best way to do that is just to sort of share whatever links you have in like any friend group you think would be their demographic, really. I mean, the biggest way that people have pushed me in the past is doctors and nurses, because that's the sort of material we have. Have reached out and said, we put this in the work group chat, we put this in the the group chat for our doctor's office or for our GP's office or something like that, and that's how we sell most of our tickets. And I'm really thankful for that, because all the money goes for a great cause. We give all the money we get to Bristol Children's Hospital. So that's the best way you can support an up and coming stand up, and definitely do go out and do it, because there are some incredible names that are up and coming at the moment, for sure.
That's amazing. Well, Michael, cheers, man. Thanks for your time. And go and support him. Go and check him out. And thank you.
Cheers, Ethan.